90% of millionaires are self-made. America's comp structure is set up to benefit entrepreneurs, period. If I don't do it after saying it, my spirit is not motivated to work the next time when I say, I will get myself this when I do this. The lack of education about money, you end up getting ripped off because you have no idea what you're doing. The difference between coming from money versus not coming from the money is the way you look at money.
5 misconceptions of becoming a millionaire here in this episode of the 7-Figure Club. What's cracking, everybody? Money Smart Guy, Matt Sapaula here, hailing to you from 32,000 feet in the air on a national private jet tour here with my mentor, BetDavid. PBD, thanks so much for taking us on this tour to talk about entrepreneurship all across the country.
Anytime, brother.
Appreciate the experience.
It's been a good ride so far.
Oftentimes people are thinking about making money in business. They're entrepreneurs, breaking away from the job, employee mentality. But I want to know from you, because a lot of people know about your story, valuetainment, from Iran, refugee, Glendale. What was some of the thoughts and conversations you had with your parents growing up about money?
Meaning, what were they telling me?
What were they telling you?
Yeah, the typical ones, money doesn't grow on trees, and you work hard for your money, and we don't have the money to buy the things that, like, I've never owned J's before. I know you and I were talking about it once. First time I owned it was in my mid-30s or my 30s. Growing up, one time I went to my mom, I said, Mom, everybody in school has nice shoes. Mm-hmm. And so she said, well, what are you saying? Because I had Payless shoes. I said, I need some nice shoes. So there was a Sports Mart. I don't know if you remember Sports Mart.
Of course.
So we went to Sports Mart. Sports Mart had D. Brown shoes. Sean Kemp shoes.
Okay.
For sale for $39, except they were size 13 and I was a size 10. So I bought them. I was 3 sizes too small, but nah, we didn't have money. I've never lived in a house. It was always an apartment. It wasn't something where you thought it was easy to go get the money out there. All you thought about is the difficulties of money.
In Glendale, of course, there's a lot of Armenians, Assyrians in that community, correct?
Yep.
What were some of the conversations you had amongst your friends about coming up, about money, about getting ahead financially? Because I gather there wasn't any millionaires around there for you guys to look up to.
It was purely a dream. That's all it was. I mean, it was all about what if one day we'd walk from Wilson Junior High School back home, and every time we would be coming down Verdugo, the conversation was always about, what would happen if you got $1 million? What would happen if you made $1 million here? What would you be doing? What would you be doing? We dreamt more than anything else, but none of us came from money. Not a single one of my friends came from money.
Some experience, Marine Corps, Army, military background, both of us. Whatever conversation about you amongst your fellow soldiers about money?
Same thing.
Yeah?
Nothing. No one. I was a spender in the military. Anything came in, everything was gone. I know you were talking about it yesterday in Santa Ana. Every penny that came in, the first car I bought in the military was a 1990 Mitsubishi Eclipse Turbo. And I bought it from this company called FMAC. My interest rate on this thing was 33%. 33%. And I have the contract till today. FMAC out of, if you're watching this, FMAC, you were out of Clarksville, Kentucky. If you go, they're still there, by the way. The contract you gave me was 33% because I was an 18-year-old kid, and that was the first car I bought. And later on, when I'm getting to the industry, I'm like, are you kidding me?
You're paying
33% for a car like this. But because you don't know, someone's going to take advantage of you. So the lack of education about money, you end up getting ripped off because you have no idea what you're doing.
You were just glad you got approved for the loan.
That's right.
So when we're thinking about money, when people are thinking about, okay, I need to make money, being a millionaire, is that really attainable? What's your experience amongst the millionaires you've been around about them coming from money or starting from scratch? What's been the majority of them?
The difference between somebody who had it and somebody who didn't have it? Well, I mean, somebody who doesn't have it, they're going to appreciate it a little bit more when they do get it, and somebody who came from it, it's a norm to them. Yeah. They don't think much about what it is to go to a nice restaurant. If a kid grew up in a family with a lot of money, they go to a 5-star restaurant and the bill comes out for them and their parents for $1,000. They're like, it's just dinner. It's not a big deal. My mom and dad have money. But for me, I remember when I went to Sizzlers when I was 16 years old with my mom, and I came the next day bragging about it in high school.
Right.
And my friends thought, like, what's wrong with this kid? I said, man, I went to a high-end restaurant. When I went to Sizzlers, because the food was $13.95, I literally thought everybody was a millionaire there.
It's Sizzlers.
I said, well, look at this, everybody here has money. But because we didn't come from a lot of money. So the difference between coming from money versus not coming from the money is the way you look at money. Not coming from it, you're a little bit more careful about losing it. Coming from it, you're a little bit more loose.
So the people that are part of the seven-figure club that you are associated with,
yeah.
Did they come from money or did they start from scratch?
83% of millionaires are self-made. 83%.
So
Meaning that's from Forbes magazine. 83% are self-made, which means they didn't. It's not self-made as in nobody helped them. It's self-made as in mom and dad didn't pass that money over to them. They would have made their millions, but it's self-made. So that's 83%. That's 4 out of 5. So you got 1 out of 5 that money was given to them, but 4 out of 5 made their money.
Oftentimes people, because they see, Trump is our president and he hasn't handed over his income taxes yet. People say, well, that's why, because millionaires don't pay taxes. But is that a misconception, or how do they pay taxes?
Well, here's a question you got to ask yourself. Okay, let's say they don't pay taxes.
Okay.
You gotta look at any tax plan that a country offers as a compensation structure. So if I work for a company that's a commission-based company, okay, everyone's gonna have their own comp plan. Every sales company has their own comp plan. We're talking about with Jordan Belfort yesterday. He asked me a question from Wolf of Wall Street. He's asking me a question saying, so what is the one most transferable thing you can tell to another CEO that's running a sales company? I said, you gotta have the right comp plan. I changed the comp plan probably 100 times in the first 5-6 years. Constantly changing, tweaking until something clicked. America's comp structure is set up to benefit entrepreneurs, period. It is set up to benefit entrepreneurs. A different country who has a 80% tax or communism or socialism, it is set up to produce employees who follow order. Very simple. America's comp plan tells you, hey, Matt, if you're willing to risk your entire savings to go start your own business, work 80 hours a week for 5 to 10 years, not have as much time with your family because most of your friends come home at 5 o'clock, they watch every sporting event, they watch every TV show, you're willing to sacrifice that for 10 years in the likelihood of maybe making millions of dollars and creating a lot of jobs. If you're willing to take that kind of a risk, guess what? I'm willing to give you the best compensation structure, which is lower taxes. So if there wasn't benefits for lower taxes, what would be the incentive for somebody to want to go sacrifice all their income, all their savings? Nobody would start businesses. You have to have an incentive out there for somebody to say, I'm going to go start a business for myself.
Because when it comes to millionaires and people thinking about, I'm in a seven-figure club, the millionaires that you're associated with and also created, do they also have the same concerns about retirement, college planning, or is just at that level of millionaire status, they're not worried about retirement, not worried about college planning? Are things automatic, or are they still diligent about making their plans to retire?
I know a lot of broke millionaires as well. So there's a lot of people that make a lot of money and have nothing to show for it. There are people that make $100,000 that have more money in savings than a person that makes $500,000 versus $1 million versus $10 million, because sometimes people are just terrible savers. But the folks that you're talking about, let's just say the disciplined ones that make 7 figures, they pay attention to details. They pay attention to every details. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. They're paying attention to the outflow, to what input, what's coming in, what's going out. They're trying to figure out ways. 3 days ago, we're at Rafi's place. We're talking to our friend, and he was talking about the fact that Armand is talking about the fact that on merchant accounts or on this account, and he says, now that I'm running the business and looking at the entire operations, there is so much money to be saved on so many different areas. I mean, he said they sell how many onions per month? What was the number he said? He said 10,000 pounds of onions per month. So imagine if a pound...
20,000 pounds of rice.
20,000 pounds of rice per week.
What's the Filipinos there?
So if you're looking at a number like that, imagine pennies. Imagine $1 on that. $1 is $20,000 savings. 10 cents is a $2,000 weekly savings times 52 is $104,000. And even a penny saved on that rice per pound is a $10,000 savings per year.
Wow.
So the people that I know that end up making a lot of money and saving a lot of money pay very close attention to the details of what they spend their money on.
Because at that level, it's easy to get skimmed. Those little details.
Very. And by the way, when you start making money, and other people start realizing you have money, they automatically assume to charge you more. For example, if I'm wanting to buy something and I go in with the seller assuming I'm broke, he will give me a lower price than if I go in assuming I'm a millionaire. Take a car to a body shop. Okay, if a 52-year-old single mother goes to a body shop saying somebody hit my car and I'm really trying to price it out to see how much it is, the body shop will say, it's okay, we'll do it to you for $400. Okay? But if you go in and the guy knows you make $1 million a year, he's gonna look at you and say, we're not gonna do it for $400. It's gonna cost you $1,500 because they know you have money. So you also have to be careful that when you start making money, other people know when you have money, don't abuse you for having more money. Yeah, you kind of have to keep that in mind as well.
Exactly. So when it comes to this book, I read The Millionaire Next Door, Dr. Thomas Stanley.
Yep.
And he made some great observations through research. And of course, experience is different than most people's research. So in your experience, have more millionaires been entrepreneurs, business people, salespeople, or have they been salespeople working for themselves, or have they been employed working for a boss?
I mean, that's going to be the entrepreneur side. I mean, that's just the benefits of having it. You have a bigger upside. But also, nowadays, there are a lot of, like, you look at Ballmer. Ballmer's never been an entrepreneur before. Ballmer is a guy that came in as an entrepreneur. He became a CEO of the company, and then he ended up being, today he's worth what, $30-40 billion? He didn't start Microsoft. Bill Gates did. But he still made $30-40 billion. That's a lot more money than a lot of other people that they made and that were entrepreneurs.
Right.
There's many ways of doing it, but the likelihood is benefiting the entrepreneur and the business owner.
He also says in his book that the millionaires, less than 100,000 millionaires, I think over 2.7 millionaires in America today, have a hard time struggling keeping millionaire status by flying around in private jets and driving exotic fancy cars.
Yeah.
Is that a misconception, or is that, what's your thoughts on that?
No, he's right. I'll tell you this. Do you know when I started flying first class? I started first class. I started flying first class way after I had already millions saved. This is not like I started flying first class. No, I got bumped up because I was executive platinum and American Airlines bumped me up to first class. But I would sit there, so my staff knows, home office knows, you want us to book your first class or you want to just put me regular? I'd go coach for a long time. I didn't buy my first set of Ferragamo shoes until I had some real money. I didn't buy a nice car. I had a Ford Focus I drove with $250,000 in savings. And people would say, how come you don't drive a nice car? So I don't see a challenge with what he's saying. I fully agree with them. However, at the same time, the benefit of us having a private jet right now, we're not doing this because we're trying to say, hey, look how rich we are. No, because we went from Dallas to, Modesto to Burbank to Santa Ana to Oak Brook to DC and back here. And we got 10 people on this plane, so with the time and the leverage and the speed and not having to wait, and the pilot has to wait for us and being hurried up, we're gonna be late, let's go guys. And we have some guests that are with us. This is well worth, to us it's the same as all of us flying first class going all over the place. So it's not a big difference for that part. Now with the car part, let's talk about the car part. Whether you buy a Ferrari, Lambo, or any of that stuff, there's two ways to think about it with that. One, I remember when I was driving a BMW 750 or a Mercedes or a Escalade or Z06 or any of that stuff, right? These are nice cars. It all depends on what market you're in. For example, if, let's just say I'm in a business where I never meet my customer, my customers are never face-to-face with me, I never meet any of my sales guys, they're never around me, I don't need to sell them the possibility of what's available to them, I don't need to drive a nice car. I simply can go out there and drive a regular car. Now, on the opposite side, there's an element of the Ferrari that has to do with marketing. There's an element with your exotic car that has to do with marketing. It's just, when we drive on if you go to valet, you don't look at a BMW the same way you look at a Ferrari at a valet. No. You just don't.
No wow factor.
Yeah, you don't. You don't look at a Jaguar the way you look at a Lambo. You don't look at a 750 BMW the way you're going to look at a Bentley. You just don't. And no matter if somebody says, well, I don't care because life is not about that. Marketing is marketing. Yeah. People are going to pay attention to that. And somebody gets to sit there and say, well, I think that guy's probably successful for driving that. So now I'll flip it as well because it's both sides.
Sure.
Once everybody knows you have money, none of these things serve a purpose anymore. Once everybody in the marketplace knows you are wealthy, there is no reason to have an exotic. So now somebody may say, what if you like Ferraris? Like for me, I'm a diehard Enzo fan. I'm a fan of the founder. I'm a fan of how stubborn he was. I'm a fan of how determined he was. I'm a fan of how certain he was about what he loved doing. He said, one time they challenged him and they said, why do you make cars to make money? He says, I don't make cars to make money. I make money so I can race cars because my passion is speed and watching these guys race. He would literally sit there and watch Niki Lauda do laps. And to him, it was like, I'm high on life watching how Niki Lauda drives. I'm high on life watching how these guys are racing. That was his passion. So I'm a fan of Ferrari. I'm a fan of Rolls-Royce because I saw the Shah in Iran. He was given a gift by Rolls-Royce. They gave him a Rolls-Royce and it was in his castle when I was in Iran, and I said, Dad, one day I'm gonna buy a Rolls-Royce. These things for me comes from a different place because many times if somebody says the following, one day if I have this, I'm gonna buy myself this and I'm gonna pamper myself with this, okay? We say that, right? So I said to myself, the day I have $250,000 in savings, I'm gonna buy such and such, okay? And I did. I told myself the day I make $100,000, I'm gonna go to New York on New Year's Eve, and I'm gonna get a room right outside of the ball. I'm gonna watch the ball drop, and I'm gonna go to Saks Fifth Avenue. I'm gonna buy $3,000 worth of clothes. To me, that was a big deal. If I don't do it after saying it, my spirit is not motivated to work the next time when I say, I will get myself this when I do this. So there's also a challenge of you not coming through for your own spirit when you say you're gonna do something. I don't know if that makes sense.
100% makes sense.
So if I said to myself, hey, the moment we do this, like I told my wife, I said, babe, once we have a few kids, whatever purse you want, you tell me, because I bought coaches. So all of a sudden I want a, what do you call it? I want a Chanel purse, go for it. Hey, after 5 years of running the business, every penny I make, I'm putting it back in the business. 5 years later, I'll buy you a house, and you tell me what house you want. 10 years later, whatever ring you want, I'm not buying you a $20,000 ring, right? I'll buy you a $3,500 ring. And 10 years later, you want a $50,000 ring? I'll buy you a $50,000 ring. Our anniversary's coming next week. Okay, it's gonna be a 10-year anniversary that's coming up. I said, what do you want? So I bought her a ring a couple of years ago. She says, honestly, I don't want a big ring because it hurts my fingers. I got small fingers. I said, so what do you want? But she has to get something on her 10th year anniversary. Whatever it is, she's gonna get. So I bought her a $160,000 car. And she's gonna get some nice surprise when I take her to Monaco for her 10-year anniversary, and then she's gonna be getting her gift. But it's because here's what we're doing in our family. This last week with our kids, when we go to stores and they wanna buy Lego, I'm not the dad that says no, I'm the dad that says yes. But it takes 9 months for you to play with that Lego. So if I go to a place and you like a toy, I'm gonna buy it for you. It just doesn't mean you're gonna open it up right there. So what he wrote,
you keep it, they don't open it until they perform to.
So what he is saying about the exotics and the private jets being a waste of money, he's not wrong. But also there's a part of it that's marketing. And if you just look at it from one dimension and not look at it from multi-dimension, you're missing out a whole different aspect of marketing. Like Life of an Entrepreneur, 90 seconds. Yeah. If I did that with a 750 BMW, it's probably not gonna get 31 million views. It's a different story than a 458 Ferrari.
Right. Your opening scene, you're unlocking the door, 100%.
There you go.
So Patrick, growing up, and now you're at this standpoint in your life, Duck and Millionaire, CEO of PHP Agency. By the way, I mentioned you mentioned something about comp plan. I appreciate your comp plan.
Yes.
Allowed me to join the 7-Figure Club. But
just the comp plan last year paid you guys, on top of everything else you did, $550,000 in cash bonuses.
Bonuses, yep.
Just the comp plan.
Just the comp
bonus plan. Yeah.
Okay. So what's one misconception that you grew up with that you demolished because you have taken the path you've
all of it. It's so many of them. It's every one of them. It's all of it.
Is there one that sticks out?
I mean, rich people are greedy. It's a lie. I can't tell you how many rich people I know give money away, and they ask you one thing at the end: please don't tell anybody. Okay. I'm not doing this to advertise it. I know so many rich people that give money away, they don't want anybody to know about it. That whole rich people are greedy thing is a very, very big misconception. Here's another thing that's misconception. Poor people are lazy. That's also a misconception. So I'm not just defending rich people. Poor people are not lazy. I know a lot of poor people who work 80 hours a week. They're not in the right industry. They haven't positioned themselves properly. So there's many of them. And if we don't question all of them, we end up believing many of them that end up affecting the life we live. Yep. So you got to question all of them.
So Patrick, is this something that you would recommend people to say, let me have a game plan to do it, to join the 7-figure income club? Is that something that you should say, people watching this video or people just in general, should that be a goal for them?
Absolutely. So yesterday, like on this tour, here's one of the questions we've been asking. When people say, when kids come to their parents and they say, Mom, Dad, are we broke? The answer parents give to their kids in that moment will dictate how your kid thinks about money, right? Mommy, are we broke? And typically mom or dad say what? Honey, who cares about John? So what, they have money. Life is not all about money. Life is all about family. That's what it is. So that kid grows up not going to get his money or her money. And if it's she ends up marrying somebody that she settles for, or he ends up marrying somebody that he settles for, and they end up settling for life. And that's why they say, I settled down, because you settled. What is exciting about settling for anything? So I remember myself, here's what I've told myself. I want to marry the girl I want to be with. So if you're hot, you're pretty, you have the personality I want, you're kind, I want to come to you and says, you're going to be my wife. I wanted that. I wanted to be able to control that part. So if you want that, you got to be at a different level to be able to get that. So when you're thinking about all these things that we're talking about when it comes down to the money side, it depends on who you want to be, but you got to question all of it.
Well, there you have it. If you've been watching this and you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you click like to follow our business page. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you click subscribe, hit notifications, be alerted next time we upload our next episode. If you haven't followed Patrick's channel yet, the #1 channel on YouTube for entrepreneurs, value tip, make sure you do so. At the same time, I'm curious what you have to say about this conversation, about this topic, because sometimes people say, can I really attain 6 figures, 7 figures? Is this something really, that's something that's doable in my entire life? Follow our channel, watch our content, drop your comments below, and we'll use some of your questions in our next video. That being said, from 32,000 feet descending upon Chicago right now, I'm your money smart guy on behalf of Patrick, BetDavid, and until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart, be money smart today.